All right, ladies and gentlemen, so we're back to doing videos. We took a little bit of break for a while, but now we're back. So today we're going to be starting our next group of chapters, and that chapter, all these chapters are dealing with geometry, with shapes. We're going to be revisiting some stuff with algebra as well, but hopefully you're going to find this, to be pretty easy. So our lesson today is on something called complementary and supplementary angles, and we have a bunch of definitions that we have to get through. So first word we're going to use a lot in this chapter is a word called congruent. Congruent has a specific symbol. I'm going to put that in next to it. It's an equal sign with a little squiggly above it. Definition is it's angles with the same shape and same size. And that goes whether it's an angle or a shape in general. If it has the same shape, same size, then they're going to be called congruent. Adjacent angles are two angles that have a common side and a common vertex. Vertex is kind of the point, the corner. Vertical angles are two angles that are opposite each other. Oops. When two lines cross and they are always equal or congruent. Right? That's another way to say that. Perpendicular are two lines that intersect at one point, forming an intersection of 90 degrees. Or two lines that have intersected to form a right angle. That's another way to say it. Okay, so those are different types of angles. Now we're going to get into the relationship. So one of the relationships we have are complementary angles. Complementary angles are two angles whose sum is 90 degrees. They make a right angle. Right? And we can recognize the right angle because it has that little box there. Right? So 30 plus 60 would give us 90 degrees. Supplementary angles are two angles whose sum is 180 degrees. Right? And that means that they make a straight line. And you can see here 120 and 60, you add those together, you get 180 degrees. Vertical angles, which we know from up top, are two angles that are opposite each other. So the measurement of vertical angles are equal. So notice it says down here, A equals B. Angle A, which is this one, equals angle B. Okay, let's see what else we have. Adjacent angles. So we already know from before that adjacent angles share a side and share a vertex. The measurements of adjacent angles add. So adjacent, AD, add together. So I can put little a with little b, and it gives me the whole total C. You add them together. Angles on a line, the measurement of two angles formed is 180 degrees. Right? This is another way of saying supplementary. So they make a straight line. They're adjacent to each other because they share a side and a vertex. So A plus B would have to be 180 degrees. Angles at a point. This is the sum of all the angles is equal to 360 degrees. So in other words, here's the point, and if I add those three angles, A, B, and C, I would have to get 360 degrees. They would form a complete circle. Okay, one of the things we're going to have to do, so we're going to kind of refresh, is we're going to be reviewing how to combine like terms. All right, so we separate each of the terms by drawing lines in front of each adding or subtracting. That's something that we didn't do too much of. We just kind of underlined them. But what it's doing for you is in between, I can kind of separate them into their terms. And for some of you, it might make it easier to see. If it's not, if that's confusing because it's new, then that's okay. You don't have to do it. But now we're going to group the like terms together. And we said in class, we do not make binapples. You cannot put them together if they are not exactly the same. So I'm going to just kind of rewrite them over here. So I'm going to start with my A. So I have negative 5A, I have a 3A, I have an A, and I have a negative A. I'm going to put my b's together, even though I know the next one is a constant. But I have negative 4b, I have 6b. And then I'm going to put my constants, negative 2, negative 12, and 1. This can help you if you find it confusing. You don't have to do this, right? If you're good with just finding them and underlining, we underlined or boxed out or whatever, you can do it that way as well. But now I'm going to put these together. So I have negative 5 plus 3, which is negative 2, plus 1 is 3, minus 1 is back down to negative 2a. Over here, negative 4 and 6 is positive 2, so we write it as plus 2b. Here we have negative 14 plus 1 is negative 13. So that whole thing simplifies down to this. And I cannot go any further because otherwise I'd be making bananas. No bananas. All right, so let's take a look and see how we can do this. So one of the things we have to be able to do is to figure out what is the relationship that's going on. Are they just adding to make something? Are they adding to make 180? Are they adding to make 360? Are they adding to make 90? So we're going to use, I'm going to have you use a highlighter. I'm just going to use a regular marker here. But here is the angle, the big angle that we're talking about. It's a straight line. Well, what is making up that straight line? That straight line is being made up of this angle, which is called x, and it's being made up, oops, I went too far, sorry. Let me redo that. It's being made up of this angle, which is x, and it's being made up of this angle, which is 22. So I can write that as an equation because I know they're adjacent, they're next to each other, that means they have to add. They're adding to make a straight line, and a straight line is 180 degrees. So x plus 22 has to equal 180 degrees.
Kylie Herrick, please report to the guidance office.
Sorry about that. So now it tells me to use your equation above to solve for x. So I'm just going to rewrite it so I have more room. Well, to get x by itself, I have to get rid of the 22. So I'm going to subtract 22 from both sides, which means x has to be 158 degrees. All right, draw a diagram to represent what it means for two angle measures to be in the ratios of 1 to 4. This means whenever you see this, you basically put x's with each of those. So 1x and 4x. All right, if the measure of these two angles is supplementary, supplementary means 180 degrees. So that means I'm going to just put it down here so I don't have to rewrite it. 1x, the first angle, plus 4x, the second angle, has to equal 180 degrees. This is now some combining like terms. So we're going to be reviewing how to solve those equations again. So 1x plus 4x is 5x. To finish getting x by itself, I have to divide both sides by 5, which means I am getting 36. It's asking me, though, to find the measures of the two angles. So one of them is 36. The other one is 4 times that, which is 144. So the two angles are 36 degrees and 144 degrees. Okay, next. The measures of two complementary angles are in the ratio of 2 to 3. So it tells me complementary, that means 90. 2 to 3 means I'm going to do 2x and 3x. So now I can write my equation. 2x plus 3x equals 90. Put my x's together, combine like terms, 5x equals 90. Divide by 5, so x is 18. But it asked me to find the two angles, not to find x. So then I have to do 2 times 18 is 36, and 3 times 18 is 54. So your two angles are 36 and 54 degrees. All right, we're going to do this together in class, the review and refresh, but I want to go back to go to the next page. So in a pair of complementary angles, so we have to know complementary means 90. The measurement of the larger angle is 3 times that of the smaller. So we have 2 angles. 2 angles means that I have to have 2 types of variables here. So the smaller, we're going to let x be the smaller. And the larger is 3 times that. So 3x is the larger. So that's a lot like the ratio question. So because it's complementary, that means they're 90, they have to add 3x plus x has to add up to 90. Well, 3x plus x is 4x. Divide both sides by 4. So x is 22.5. And it's okay to have decimals. It says, again, find the measurements of the 2 angles, so then I have to do 3x, which is just 3 times that, which is 67.5, and I should add the degree sign. All right, number 5, the measure of a complement of an angle, so we're talking about 90, is 32 more than 3 times the angle. Okay, you know what, we're going to save that one for class. That one's getting a little too wordy. We're going to save it for class. We'll do it together. So, any other questions though, right? You have to know this vocabulary. Whether you make yourself flashcards, you have to know complementary, supplementary. You have to know about making a line and about a point. You have to know those. All right, but other than that, any questions? Bring them to class and have a good night, guys.